We have taken only two examples from a very wide variety of animals and plants that live on the earth. In all these variety of organisms, we will find that they have certain features that help them live in the surroundings in which they are normally found. The presence of specific features of certain habits which enable an organism to live naturally in a place is called adaptation. Adaptation of organisms differ depending on their place of dwelling. That is why a fish cannot live out of water and a camel cannot live in a sea. The place where organisms live is called habitat. Habitat means a dwelling place. The habitat provides food, water, air, shelter, and other needs of organisms. Several kinds of plants and animals live in the same habitat. The plants and animals that live on the land are said to live in terrestrial habitats. Some examples of terrestrial habitats are forest, grassland, desert, coastal, and mountain regions. On the other hand, the habitats of plants and animals that live in water are called aquatic habitats. Lakes, rivers, and oceans are some examples of aquatic habitats. There are large variations among terrestrial habitats like forest, grassland, deserts, coastal, and mountain regions located in different parts of the world. The organism, both plants and animals living in a habitat, are its biotic components. The non living things such as rocks, soil, air, and water in the habitat constitute its abiotic components. Are sunlight and heat biotic or non abiotic components? We know that some plants grow from seeds. Let us look at some abiotic factors and their effect on seeds as they grow into young plants. Activity 2. Recall activity 5 in chapter 1. We made sprouts from moong and chana seeds. When the seeds turned into sprout, it is said to have germinated. This is the beginning of life of a new plant. Collect some dry moong seeds, keep 20 to 30 seeds aside and soak the rest in water for a day. Divide the soaked seeds into 4 parts. Keep one part completely submerged in water for 3 to 4 days. Do not disturb the dry seeds and those submerged in water. Keep one part of soaked seeds in a sunny room and another in a completely dark region like a cupboard that is not allow any light to come in. Keep the last part in very cold surroundings, say in a refrigerator or the ice around with them. Rinse them and replace the water every day. What do you notice? After a few days, do the seeds in all the 5 conditions germinate uniformly? Do you find slower or no germination in any of these? Do you realize that abiotic factors like air, water, light, and heat are important for the growth of plants? In fact, abiotic factors are important for all living organisms. We need that we find that organisms exist in very cold as well as very hot climates, isn't it? How do you they manage to survive? Adaptation is the method by which organisms get well adjusted to the climate. Adaptation does not take place in short time because the abiotic factors of a region also change very slowly. Those organisms which cannot adapt to these changes die, and only the adapted ones survive. Organisms adapt to different abiotic factors in different ways. This results in a wide variety of organisms in different habitats. Let us look at some habitats. Understood the abiotic factors, and the adaptation of animals in these habitats. A journey through different habitats. Some terrestrial habitats. Desert. We discussed the abiotic factors of a desert and the adaptation in camels. What about other animals and plants that are found in deserts? Do they have same kind of adaptations? There are desert animals like rats and snakes which do not have long legs that a camel has to stay away from the intense heat during the day. They stay in burrows deep inside in the sand. These animals come out only during the night when it is cooler. Figure 9.5 shows the typical plants that grow in a desert. How are these adapted to the desert? Activity 3. Bring a potted cactus and a leafy plant to the classroom. Tie polythene bags to some part of the two plants, as was done for activity 4 in chapter 7, where we study transpiration in plants. Leave the potted pots plants in sun and observe after a few hours. What do you see? Do you notice any difference in the amount of water collected in the two polythene bags? Desert plants lose very little water through transpiration. The leaves in desert plants are either absent, very small, or they are in form of spines. This helps in reducing loss of water from the leaves through transpiration. The leaf-like structure you see in a cactus is, in fact, its stem. Photosynthesis in these plants is usually carried out by the stems. The stem is also covered with thick waxy layer which helps to retain water in the tissues of cacti. Most desert plants have roots that go very deep into the soil for absorbing water.